Selamünaleyküm. This is Halil Agah. I'm the Executive Director of Federation of Consultants from Islamic Countries. First of all, you welcome our webinar. This webinar directly related to very important subject for all over the world. The topic of our webinar is management of the food security crisis and the preparation for the future. This is the very crucial and important subject. And today we will be with our very important people. You're welcome. Now we would like to watch a short video, and after that we will start our program.
This joint webinar, organized by the Islamic Development Bank and the Federation of Consultants in Islamic Countries, FCIC, the focus is on the management of the food security crisis and preparation for the future. FCIC, a long-standing partner of Islamic Development Bank, has played a crucial role in capacity building and knowledge sharing among consulting industries in member countries. Food security remains a major challenge for many Islamic Development Bank member countries in Africa and Asia. They face water scarcity, a lack of mechanization, access to affordable seeds and fertilizers, and other challenges that limit their ability to produce enough food to meet the needs of their growing populations. The recent conflict in Ukraine and climate-related challenges have further exacerbated the already difficult food security situation in food-deficient member countries. Global food prices have soared to levels not seen in recent decades, and the COVID-19 pandemic's lingering effects and rising food and agricultural input prices pose a significant threat to the fragile state of recovery, pushing over 40 million people into extreme poverty in 2022. Despite recent declines in food prices, overall poverty levels and acute food insecurity are projected to persist in many developing countries, particularly in sub-Saharan Africa and Southeast Asia. Urgent action is needed across governments and multilateral development banks (MDBs) to mitigate a severe and prolonged food crisis. MDBs have allocated over $38 billion to support developing countries, and the Islamic Development Bank has launched various initiatives and programs to support food security in member countries. These initiatives include investments in agricultural infrastructure, research and development, and capacity building for farmers and other stakeholders in the food system. The Islamic Development Bank has launched a $10.54 billion Comprehensive Food Security Response Program (FSRP) fund to support member countries in addressing the ongoing food crisis. Consulting engineers have a critical role to play in building on global knowledge and experiences to deliver sustainable and resilient solutions to address food insecurity in developing countries. By sharing their expertise and experiences, they can help member countries enhance their food systems' capacity and resilience, ultimately contributing to long-term sustainable development. The joint efforts of Islamic Development Bank and FCIC in this regard are a step towards a better future for food security in member countries.
Thank you very much. Now I would like to give some brief information our program. After the welcoming or opening remarks from the Mr. Amir Mir, he is the manager of the project procurement and financial management division of the ISDB. And we will have, after his opening remarks, we will start our panel. During the panel, we will have 4 panelists from the different perspective of the food security approach, and we will be with them. After that, we have a Q&A session. It will be approximately 30 minutes. We are already received some of the questions and also some of the evaluator from the bank side, and we will be with them. Now, this is our program, and I believe that we will be worked together this 120 minutes with you, and we will share FCIC's approach and FCIC's how FCIC how approach this problem and how we will be cooperate the bank and another MDBs. Thank you very much. And now I would like to invite Mr. Amir Mir. He, as I said you, he's the manager of the project procurement, finance, and management division. Floor is yours, Mr. Amir.
Thank you, Mr. Halil Agha, distinguished representatives and the members of the Federation of Consultants from Islamic countries, distinguished panelists, participants, brothers and sisters. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. I'll start with the Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. It is with immense pleasure that I welcome you all to this pre-annual meeting webinar organized as part of the 48th annual meeting of the Islamic Development Bank Group. This year annual meeting focuses on the theme partnership to fend off the crisis that is world is facing currently. Today's webinar is on topic management of food security crisis and preparation for the future. This webinar will feature our panelists who will share their experiences of the consulting industries and also from the international organization by offering their perspectives on how to address the most critical challenge facing the world today. The Islamic Development Bank and the Islamic Organization for Food Security will also present their efforts they are undertaking to support the member countries to mitigate this global food crisis. The webinar will address critical questions on role of consulting engineers can play in influencing national food security policies and contribute toward enhancing design and implementation arrangement for food security projects and programs. Also, they will also guide the work of the Islamic Development Bank in making the strategic investment in addressing the food security challenges facing our member countries. As you all know, the world is facing an acute food crisis caused by a combination of factors such as long neglect of the agriculture sector, recurrent conflict across the world, market and supply chain disruptions, trade protectionism, climate change, and global political as well as the economic instability. Furthermore, the situation is also exacerbated by the continuing negative impact of COVID-19 pandemic. These crises affects lives and livelihood of millions of people worldwide, with over 820 million people already suffering from chronic hunger and approximately 2 billion people are lacking regular access to safe nutrition and sufficient food to meet their dietary requirements. The food crisis has significant impact on most vulnerable groups, such as women, child, and elderly population. Rising cost of food has also made it unaffordable for sizable segment of the poor population, especially in food deficient and developing member countries. Dear participants, brothers and sisters, addressing the food crisis requires a comprehensive approach that includes strategic investment in expanding agriculture, research and development for increasing productivity, using innovative tools and technologies and productive mechanism, building robust market and supply chain, mitigating the impact of climate change, and also mitigating the impact of fragility and the conflict. The continuing food crisis is a complex issue with many contributing factors, and addressing it will require coordinated efforts from the governments, international organizations, UN agencies, and multilateral development bank around the world. Collaboration among various stakeholders, including researchers, technologists, farmer, private sector, and food industry is crucial in ensuring sustainable future for the agriculture sector. Dear participants, brothers and sisters, in these challenging situations, it is essential for us to focus both on short-term measures, but also in terms of the medium-term measures that we need to take, providing immediate relief to the most vulnerable segment of the societies in the short run, while investing in sustainable agriculture program, ensuring availability of agriculture inputs, machinery, access to the market for agriculture produce, and also reducing the food waste during harvesting, storage, and transportation, and also using the adaptive technologies based on the needs of the various countries. In response to the global food crisis in 2022, the Multilateral Development Bank allocated a substantial investment program of 38 billion to support the developing countries. The Islamic Development Group alone has approved 10.54 billion comprehensive food security response program. The fund made available to support agriculture sectors in member countries and to address ongoing food crisis. In addition, Islamic Development Bank, jointly with its partners, Arab Coordination Group, a group of 10 bilateral and multilateral donors, have also agreed to co-finance food security projects worth $10 billion. We must use these critical resources effectively and work collaboratively to deliver sustainable solutions to these recurrent challenges around the food security. There is an urgent need to improve access to basic food, agriculture commodities, and also the agriculture input. In short term, addressing basic food supply constraint through procurement of food items from international markets, as well as increasing the local produce within the developing countries. While in the medium term, financing more strategic projects that will help to address underlying structural determinant and driver of food insecurity and build a critical food reserve, especially in food deficient member countries. More specifically, Islamic Development Bank supports a number of initiatives that aims to strengthen agriculture sectors in member countries, covering initiatives for making agriculture resilient to the climate change, initiative for building food value chains, program for smallholders productivity and market access, initiative for rural livelihood support, program for livestock and fisheries development, and also programs to build the essential food reserves. The management of food security crisis requires a multifaceted approach that includes improving agriculture practices, addressing socioeconomic disparities, promoting food sovereignty, investing in research, development, and innovation, and also strengthening the local and the global value chain for agriculture sectors, while better preparing for the future by building sustainable food value chain that can withstand the impact of the climate change, population growth, and also systemic global crisis and the shocks that we continue to face. Dear participants, brothers and sisters, we have ingredients to succeed, including availability of large fertile lands within our member countries, huge water resources, technical as well as the human capabilities, and abundant financial resources. What is needed is a more strategic approach and collective effort in finding lasting solution to food security challenges facing our member countries. Let me conclude with prayer to Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us all the strength and resolve to collectively work and make progress in addressing the food security challenges facing many of our member countries. Let's aim toward eradicating malnutrition, hunger across 57 member countries, and also building a sustainable food security system that meets current as well as the future needs of our member countries. I would like to thank you once again for your participation and wish you all a productive webinar and the concrete outcome. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Let me hand back the floor to Brother Halil.
Thank you very much, Brother Amir. Your opening remarks and the conclusion at the end, it was very important for everybody, all humans. Now, I would like to start our panel, and first, I would like to invite Dr. Azar. Mainly, he's the agribusiness consultant holding a PhD from the University of Minnesota, and he's experienced more than 30 years in university teaching, applied research activities, project cycle, agricultural investment projects, and companies management. Already, when we look at his background, his very brilliant experience from the universities, some of the research institutes, some agricultural companies, very huge companies related to management and consultancy activities. Therefore, I am inviting Dr. Hazar about his approach about for the food securities. Dr. Hazar, floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Assalamu alaikum. The topic of my presentation is FCIC sharing views for enhancing food security in Islamic Development Bank member states. Next, please. The content of the presentation includes global food security, agriculture status and food security in OIC, role of Islamic Development Bank in supporting agriculture sector, suggested projects to enhance food security, and suggested mechanisms of Islamic Development Bank in supporting the project. Next, please. Next, please. The World Food Summit in 1996 defined food security as existing when all people at all times have access to sufficient, safe, nutritious food to maintain a healthy and active life. That include the 4 dimensions, which are the availability, access, utilization, and stability. Next, please. UN and its organizations has set the Sustainable Development Goals for 2030. It was planned to end hunger, food insecurity, and all forms of malnutrition by 2030. The state of food security and nutrition in the world, which was reported by FAO and other organizations in 2022, indicated that the world is moving backwards in its effort to end hunger, food insecurity, and malnutrition in all its forms. As of 2021, around 2.3 billion people in the world were moderately or severely food insecure. Next, please. You can note from this figure that the severe food insecurity and moderate food insecurity were both increasing between 2014 to 2021. The most noticeable increase was in Africa and in Asia, where most OIC countries are there. Next, please. Which add to this food insecurity problem, the food price inflation. We noticed that during the last 2 years, and because of COVID and the Russian-Ukraine war, there is a food price inflation in cereal, meat, oil, dairy, and sugar, and that would affect definitely the food security situation in many countries. Next, please. The World Food Program has listed the countries affected by the food price inflation. You can see in this table that the top in the list, the top 10 in the list, you can find that 6 of those top in the list are from OIC countries, and that would indicate that the difficulties of those countries facing the inflation in the prices. Next, please. Not only food prices inflated during the last 2 years, we can also notice that there is an increase in the prices in the international fertilizer prices, such as DAP, TSP, urea, and potassium chloride. You notice that there is a sharp increase between 2020 to 2023. From this inflation was also noticeable in the sub-Saharan Africa, and because of those high prices, the consumption of fertilizers in this region declined by 25%, and that definitely would have an effect on the crops cultivated, the amount, the yield, and varieties and availability. Next, please. In conclusion, for the global food security, number one, with all efforts at country level and organization level, food availability and security are below the target of all. 2, large number of people facing hunger are in Africa and Asia, where most OIC countries are there. 3, as of 2021, there are still 2.3 billion people who are moderately or severely food insecure. Next, please. Next, please. Now, when we talk about agriculture and food security in OIC countries, let's point out the main agriculture main traits. First of all, the contribution of agriculture sector is about 650 billion to their GDP per year. Second, 29% of the agriculture area in OIC represent 29% of the world agriculture land. 3, working people in agriculture exceeds 50% in 12 OIC countries, which represent that agriculture is very important sector in OIC. And also, the amount of agricultural products produced represent, in OIC represent 14 to 15% of the world production. And that's true for the cereal, fruit, vegetable, meat, livestock, and fisheries. Next, please. Again, we can see that fish production increased by 2.2% per annum between 2000 to 2017. And this is for inland fisheries and marine production. For other products between 2000 and 2018, there was some increase by 85%, 69% and 97% in meat, milk, and eggs, which indicates the importance of those products and the potential of increasing agricultural projects in OIC countries. Next, please. Next, please. Okay, now what are the factors related to food security? We can classify those factors under 3: economy, infrastructure, and agriculture, and climate. Under economy, there's difficult economic conditions, poverty, population growth, low income, urbanization and input, and weak commodity prices. And also there is a lack in some of the OIC countries of adequate infrastructure related to agriculture. And there is an adverse climate conditions, water scarcity, low soil fertility, and barren land. Next, please. Now, the Economist group in 2022 put a classification for food security across the globe. We can see from this table that the first in rank globally is Finland, with over score of food security 83.7%. For OIC countries involved in this table, we can see that a few of these countries are under 70 score, and a few under 60s, and a few under 50s, but more countries are under 40s and 30s. That indicates the need, the real need to pay more attention to food security and its elements to increase the score of the OIC countries in food security. Next, please. Now, the ICDT, Islamic Development Bank report in 2022 indicated the most prioritized sectors for foreign direct investment by OIC countries in 2022. We can see that number of investment promotion agencies that mention related sectors. We can see that 41 of those IPS indicated that agriculture-related sectors are the most prioritized one and before other sectors. That again indicates that how agriculture is very important sector in OIC countries. Next, please. Now, the same report, which is the investment climate and opportunities in OIC countries, which is very important report, indicated in its title and its very important points. First of all, the dependency on external financial flow is significant in some OIC countries. Second, have significantly increased their FDI inflows in 2021. Three, are net importers capital. The other three are very important aspects for the OIC and agriculture. The number four indicating that intra-OIC investments become more visible. And five, many OIC countries should improve their investment climate, and this is very important point here. And the last point is investment opportunities in OIC countries are flourishing, and this is very promising and excellent. Next, please. Next, please. Now, the concluding remarks on food security in OIC, that most of OIC member countries suffer from, no, I would say many, not most of OIC member countries suffer from food insecurity and increased number of population facing hunger. Two, there is a great potential to improve agriculture practices and to increase production and food availability. Three, development programs are very important to improve agriculture practices. Four, investment in infrastructure helps to boost productivity and access to more markets. Five, ISDB group could play an important role in assisting public and the private sectors in OIC member countries. Six, infrastructure support and SME projects are suggested. Seven, this requires analysis, strategy, and medium and long-term plans and continuous assessment. And then the last one, new tools are important to be introduced to support SMEs and small communities. Next, please. Here I would like to talk about the role of Islamic Development Bank in agriculture. The most important point is ISDB gives agriculture sector an importance since its establishment. The main focus was on, in the beginning, on infrastructure serving agriculture. Next, please. Now, the strategic objectives of Islamic Development Bank is to accelerate integrated and inclusive sustainable agriculture, to promote sustainable natural resources management, to contribute to an increase overall food production and intra-member country trade, to reduce poverty and increase food security, to promote the participation of private sector, to support agriculture and rural Islamic financing, and promoting agriculture research and development. Next, please. Next, please. Now, this figure indicates that all agriculture activities and investment, it would add definitely to the UN plan, SDGs plan for 2030. From this figure, we can see that the GDP contribution of agriculture of OIC in GDP range between 17 to 27%. 29% is the area agricultural land of OIC out of the global land. Also, agriculture in OIC participate in 14 to 15% of the global production. 37% of the people working in agriculture in OIC. OIC contribute to 40% of livestock globally. And also the bank up to 2019 invested 16 billion in agriculture and rural development, which represent about 13% of its investment in developmental sector. Next, please. Now, the bank is not working by its own. It's also working with other organizations and other parties. we can see that the bank signed the agreement of establishment of the International Saline International Center for Biosaline Agriculture in Emirate in 1996. It also played an important role in establishing the Islamic Organization of Food Security, also established the Lives and Livelihood Fund in 2016 with many countries and many organizations. Also, ICD, as part of the Islamic Development Bank group, invested about $5.7 billion. Also, Islamic Development Bank cooperate with Arab Bank for Economic Development in various agriculture projects. Next, please. The bank covers many areas of agriculture, including infrastructure projects, irrigation and drainage, integrated rural development, portable water supply, housing construction, sanitation and waste management, and renewable energy. Next, please. Other examples of the bank and the projects financed by the bank: small-scale dairy projects, agro-pastoral development programs, and poultry and aquaculture production. Next, please. Now I would like to mention to here some of the projects which we think that it would support food security in OIC countries. First, I would start with the important criteria for selecting the projects. The approach: we need to focus first on essential commodities, comparative and competitive advantages, better to be integrated projects, and better to adapt to new technologies under the supervision of research center in the region, and it is ready and to be adapted and to be implemented. Under organization, I really humbly believe that there is the coordination and the joint venture between financial development and investment organization would really result in a very huge impact on the food security. And second, the project should consider the UN SDGs and also should focus on the SMEs and community. Technically, it should be green energy used, save water, drought, saline resistance crops, considering the climate change consequences, and market connectivity and fostering public-private partnership. Next, please. An example of the, first of all, the investment projects. It's according to the region of the bank, which is Middle East and North Africa, Sub-Saharan Africa, Europe, and Central Asia, and Asia and Latin America. There are some projects were suggested as investment projects, as a priorities, like crops, dairy projects, poultry project, livestock, fish, and so on in different regions. Next, please. Here is the example of the suggested cooperation, which I mentioned before, between the Financial Development Investment Organization. The first example I would like to mention is the project was done early between 1995. It was between Islamic Development Bank, IFAD, and the Arab Fund. I was part of this project at that time, which is ICARDA Mashriq Maghreb project for the development of integrated crop livestock production in Wana region. I need to say that the budget of that project was only $5 to $10 million, not more. And it covered 8 countries in Mashriq and Maghreb. But the result of that project, it's used until now. And I think we need to go back and look into this very important example of cooperation between various organizations. The second example, which is the cooperation between IFAD and IIID. IFAD as a developmental organization and IIID as an investment organization. They have worked together in a dairy project in Lebanon, fish project in Yemen, a livestock project in Morocco. And there was a developmental and investment component, as I explained in the next slide. Next slide, please. can see this slide is an example of the cooperation between development and investment component. And the development component in this fishery project in Yemen, that the fishermen, the small fishermen, they usually, the development component to provide them with some support, some ice, some oil, net, and some other services. They catch fish and provide into the investment component, which is the whole fish processing plant by contract. And in this approach, that you have development component integrated with investment component and lead into sustainability. So sustainability is very important in this. Next, please. Now, the other examples of suggested project is the SME, the project at the SME levels. At agri-SME levels are very critical to the development of a sustainable food system. IFAD indicated that 80% of the food produced globally is produced by SME. So it's very important. In Indonesia, for example, in 2019, there were about 65 million SMEs, which made up 99% of businesses population and employed 96% of the total workforce. So we need, it's recommended to pay attention to the SMEs projects in the whole value chain in all commodities and all crops. Next, please. The other suggested projects, projects at the community level. Islamic Development Bank has supported many projects at the national and community level. Examples are mentioned for Africa, for example, rice, for Senegal, livestock, and for Burkina Faso, the cotton. Community level projects could be considered as micro, small enterprises. The best approach is to have various farmers in a small community, in a very small place, as a supplier of crops or products at the same time to be a shareholder in a small processing plants within the community. Example of that, date palm processing plant, tomato paste, olive oil, organic fertilizers processing plant, fruits and vegetable processing plants, and so on. Next, please. Next, please. Now, the suggested rule of Islamic Development to support, it would come probably through the FCIC. FCIC suggested approach to enhance food security in Islamic Development Bank member states to have first, in cooperation with ISDB, OIC, and IOFS, the Federation FCIC to study the present status of food security. Second, to analyze and gaps identification. Then to suggest the projects at the development program at the regional level, regional investment projects integrated, suggest the projects at the SME level, at the community level, and then development investment projects. And then FCIC could suggest the cooperation model between Islamic Development Bank and other organizations and institutions for implementing the project. Next, please. Now, the conclusion is the last slide, is that Islamic Development Bank is doing a great job in supporting agriculture in the member states and enhance food security. And Mr. Amer stated in his first remark very important points about the role of Islamic Development Bank in agriculture and food security. Second, regional programs having greater impact. Three, it is important to have stronger business relationship between Islamic Development Bank and agriculture organizations such as AOAD, IIID, ICARDA, FAO, and IFAD. This is very beneficial for sector analysis and have joint projects. 4, SME needs to be giving more importance. 5, ICD need to be reached by private sector, SME, community level projects. 6, FCIC could provide solid consultancies to private sector in OIC. 7, FCIC could also provide support to ISDB's future food security project. Thank you very much. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I hope. Okay. Now, thank you for your very kindly and very benefitful experience sharing with us and your suggestion. Before, thank you, Dr. Azar. Before to go to another panelist presentation, I would like to ask all participants, all audience, turn on their video because we would like to take a group photo to all participants. Our colleagues try to organize. Mr. Brother Ashraf, I hope you can succeed to take our group photo with all our colleagues, presenters, panelists, audience. Is it possible?
Now, if everybody has turned on their camera, Mr. Khalil,
Yep.
we are ready to take on the count of 3, gentlemen.
Please, please, all participants, turn on your camera, and we would like to take a group photo together. I think that our team and our panelists, they turn on their camera, and I am waiting another participants, colleagues.
I believe everyone has turned on their camera. So on the count of 3, gentlemen, let's have a group photo. Starting 1, 2, and 3. Can we have a smile, please? Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Now, I would like to invite our second panelist, Mr. Baji. He is from Islamic Development Bank, and he's the Global Lead Management Food Security Specialist. Now, this is the very important person for our topic, and he has more than 24 years experience in agriculture and agribusiness in Africa, Caribbean, Pacific region, and Middle East and North African region. And he is the former Director General of private Dutch agricultural export company for West Africa. And he is very deeply experienced in agricultural technology, agri-industry and export, food security, management of food systems, post-harvest technology and technological transfer, some of the main topics at his experience. He has he's the agriculture engineer degree in the management of the Mediterranean and tropic agri-food system, Montpellier in France. Also, he is a master science in agriculture and food system, also from Montpellier, and he's an engineering degree in industrial production system, also University Paris, and also he received a lot of training certificate from Harvard University related to political design and delivery, the World Bank Institute, International Trade Center, and United Nations Conference on Trade and Development agencies. Now, floor is yours, Mr. Baji. We are awaiting your
Thank you.
Very important contribution to our panel. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Alil. Thank you very much. Next slide, please. Comparing to what Dr. Azar presented a few minutes ago, it seemed that history repeats itself. And after more than a decade, food security is again at the top of the agenda of government worldwide. Calling to mind the food crisis of 27 and 28, 2008. If you look at agriculture, food and food system and supply chain, they are all facing multiple challenges. We can say, the COVID-19 pandemic, the Russian war, natural calamities, supply chain disruption. And if you look at many countries, including OIC member country nowadays, have been affected by the current crisis and the increase in food prices threatening to destabilize political and social order. If you see here, what are the factors affecting food security? We can say easily that understanding the factor that can affect food security is essential for, developing effective strategies and policies to address these challenges. Climate change, natural disaster, conflict, population growth, poverty, including physical factors, human factors as well. Next, please. Here you can see the impact of the war in Ukraine on agriculture commodities and food and nutrition security. If you recall, the previous presenter was saying, in order to enhance food security project, we need to focus on agriculture commodities. But here, if you look at this slide, you will see easily that one of the factors affecting food security, food insecurity here, food security here is related to dependence on such production like wheat from Russia and Ukraine. Next, please. Now, what we can do to avert this situation, how the Islamic Development Bank approach to financing agriculture and food security can be benefit for our member country. The total ISDB group financing support for agriculture and food security currently stand approximately at $20.6 billion, supporting more than 1,500 operations. Addressing the complex and interrelated challenges on food security requires a multiple approach, multi-sectoral approach. It involves stakeholders from different sectors: agriculture, health, environment, and social protection. By addressing the factor here that affect food insecurity, it can be possible to improve food access, availability, and utilization, as rightly stated by Dr. Azhar. Crucial step to ensure food security across the world and the Islamic member country will need to include a more effective distribution of food supply, and then a drastic change in the food system, as we know it really necessary. We can no longer produce food for economic profit. Our global goal should be making sure no one goes hungry by decreasing demand in wealthier nation while increasing supply in developing country. We also need to invest in more sustainable agriculture practices and new technology. At the Islamic Development Bank level, we are developing food security investment pipeline with other MDBs or technical partner that simultaneously will support ISDB agriculture and food ambitions. Supporting policy reform. This is essential for member country to effectively develop commodity value chain. Design innovative financing mechanisms and stimulate private sector participation in agriculture through novel approaches. Next slide, please. Here, if you look at the looming food crisis, has not come as much of a surprise to the Islamic Development Bank. After the Jeddah Declaration response program in 2007-2008, food crisis for the bank is not like what we are doing now. The bank approved in 2022 the Food Security Response Plan to help member countries in the short, medium, and longer term to strengthen their food system. IDB Group endorsed a $10.54 billion, as rightly stated by Dr. Ahmed in his statement. The objective of the program is to support member countries by complementing their national food security effort in averting ongoing food crisis and strengthening the resiliency to future food security shocks. The program will be achieved this by amplifying and accelerating the ISDB effort in providing immediate food security support to different levels. Now, this includes low productivity, tackling rural poverty, climate change, weak resiliency, building agriculture resilient system, food and input value chain. Next. Now here we can see how we're gonna tackle financing and provide and promote policy reform in agriculture sector that is essential. IDB policy-based lending is an important mechanism of financing developing member country needs while supporting policy reform. How are we going to enable on regenerative food system, where we identify 3 levels that can address the immediate food security support to member country and durability of system solution. First of all, we need to enable a return on regenerative food system. The way we produce and consume food can buy us time on climate change and lead to net zero. Today, food systems contribute to over 1/3 of greenhouse gas emission, as we know. Financing directly agri-food solution to revert these effects will lead us to improve crop yield for farmers, to reduce, reduce emission across the agri-food value chain and turn cropland and pasture into carbon sinks. Ensure demand signals don't short. It means that we must ensure market demand doesn't fall short as we think. We rethink growing food to be healthy and sustainable. Countries and corporates are taking bigger list bets and they transition to more climate smart and regenerative agri-food production system. We can invest also in member country-led food system transformation by showing it's worth the shared risk to back smart investment in food system transformation since the first United Nations Food System Summit in 2021. 117 countries have committed to transform their food system in line with the UN Sustainable Development Goal. Next, please. We have solutions to address global food insecurity and prevent future crises. How to catalyze action on global food security and resilience, focusing on the critical links between climate conflict and food crisis. We need solution. Now, what preoccupies ISDB member countries now? With optimism increasing that the food security crisis is easing, is the importance of learning lessons from the crisis and the need to ensure member country food security in the future. I may suggest the establishment with OIC member country of a committee in charge of studying food supply factors and taking steps that would ensure member countries' security, especially in time of crisis. Everyone involved must realize that there is no member country food security without the cooperation of all stakeholders. Member country to prevent and respond to food insecurity is critical, and the international financial institutions alone are not enough to end the crisis. Member countries or MDBs must be better at leveraging longer-term funding mechanisms to get ahead or rising, a kind of global hunger level and promote resiliency. Member countries must also engage in concerted cooperation to put forward right-based trade, economic climate, food system, and social protection policy. In support to the Islamic Development Bank seeking to address the food crisis through our food security response program, we should take the following concrete steps based on finding global solution to global problems. First, we should prioritize inclusive assessment to address the root causes of member country food insecurity and support policies that protects poor and vulnerable people availability to access food and livelihoods. Second, protects, reinforce, and increase funding to respond to the short, medium, and longer term impacts of the food security crisis. We, as the donor, we should increase assistance toward global humanitarian appeals. Efforts should be made to direct support to local organizations, including women-led organizations that are already responding to food insecurity in their communities. Third, how are we going to tailor, food supply modalities, livelihoods, and agriculture support to each member country's context? And finally, we need a strong monitoring mechanism on the risk of food insecurity in member countries. It should be more systematic to put the full force of financial, human resources, and policy action to promote food sovereignty for millions of people around the member country. The IGB is adopting a fit for purpose and value money procurement procedure for each operation, prioritizing fast-tracking procurement and implementation. This is key. For specific intervention related to the private sector, entities will follow their procedure if acceptable to the Islamic Development Bank, and established commercial practices may be applied to ensure fast-tracking procurement. To better project potential demand for food security response program in our member country, we should focus on very comparative advantage promoting commodities in our member country. Next, please. Next. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Brother Baji. Thank you very much, Brother Baji. Now, I would like to introduce Professor Dr. Erdal Akdeve. He is from Social Science University of Ankara, and he's the Department of the Administration. But he's currently as a director of the Social Innovation Center at the
Hello?
Hello? He's the General Director of the Social Innovation Center at the Social Science University of the Ankara. He has a master's degree from Göteborg University, Sweden, for International Management Studies. And also he holds a PhD from Ankara University, Department of Business Administration. He has some practical private sector experience. He was the General Director of Ankara İvedik Organized Industrial Zone. Also, he was the advisor, political advisor of the Turkish Association of the Chamber of Exchanges, and also he has different academical background information. Mainly, he has completed many projects in the field of regional development, university and industry collaboration, innovation capacity development, social innovation, industrial and technological zones in Turkey and abroad. Also, business development for the local and industrial level. Floor is yours, Dr. Erdal Akdeve. I believe that we will listen different aspect of the food security issues. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. My best sincere regards to all participants. One of the most important problems of the humanity in research past yesterday and tomorrow is access to food and educate nutrition in the world, in today's world. I would like to sincerely congratulate the Islamic Development Bank for the interest and the support it has shown in this matter. I would also like to thank Halil Agah for inviting me to be here. At least I had the opportunity to share with you what I learned about the field I work in. As I share the template of the presentations with you, allow me to state the following. Today, I will try to talk about the social innovation phenomenon as an alternative solution to the issue of food security that humanity is facing and may continue to face. As I will explain in detail later, the main difference of the social innovation is its high social impact. Therefore, social impact assessment emerges as an important tool. Another important element is to provide an environment where a strong network of relations will be developed for the realizations of the social innovation. I will try to define it as an ecosystem. As ecosystem, I will share with you the model from the Ankara that I have worked with and contributed directly to its creation. Next, please. Problem description, what I mean is in the agriculture sector, I am interested in the problem areas in my daily life and in my professional care, both as my family business since my childhood. The fact that the region where I was born and grew up is the Konya Plain, one of the 3 largest agriculture regions of Turkey. And as an entrepreneur in agriculture sector right now. So I think that one side of the food safety issue is actually a lack of institutional capacity and a system problem. The fact that the entrepreneurs in sector are small or even micro scale is an important weakness in terms of the increasing the impact and sustainability of the business. In this context, the functioning of the economic system and the necessary physical infrastructure are important shortcomings in many developing countries. The disadvantage of the scale should be taken into account, such as inadequate infrastructure, especially climate conditions, lack of groundwater, and even lack of the irrigation systems. This inadequate infrastructure and insufficient network of the strong relationships. The fact that the food supply chain have not been established even at the local level. The production is carried out idle capacity in currently owned agriculture areas. This is my problem descriptions. Next, please. What I mean by paradigm shift or paradigm change is to present why social innovation, which I propose as an alternative way or tool to food security, which is the subject of this seminar today, has developed and the change factors that led to it today. Next one is the competition has always existed, but it's felt with a higher increase than yesterday and history. In order to survive against the effect of the competition, business and other actors have to constantly develop strategies. Today, strategic management, which put competition as its center, is studied in academia as an important branch of the science and has become a research area where practitioners allocate significant resources. Humanity has always made technological progress. It's about the technological progress. However, the rapid development of information and the communication technologies has further increased the impact of technology in our daily lives. In particular, all humanity has experienced technology and especially digitalizations at significant level during the COVID pandemic process. And right now, we are even holding our meeting via Zoom with this digitalization opportunity and experience. Other issue is about cooperation capacity. Cooperation capacity should be developed in order to cope with competition and the pace of the change in technology as an individual institution or country. For this, the actors who are the parties of the cooperation should play an equal role. Cooperation happens between equals. This is the main problem of the cultures in the Islamic regions. Effective cooperation is not established between the hierarchical or power distanced parties. Even if it is installed, it will not serve its purpose or will not respond to competition. For this, the agriculture sector, especially producers in developing countries, needs to be included in global value chains. Otherwise, there will be no adaptations to the changing paradigm and the problem of access to food, which is an important indicator of inter-regional inequality, will grow even more. Next, please. It's necessary to choose and implement the right strategy against the problem areas I already explained, and the paradigm shift that I have just mentioned. I will have the following suggestions for the strategy design in terms of my own expertise and presentations location. Local focus will enable both mobilization of local resources and capabilities and development of the local entrepreneurship. It's not possible to apply a model or design that belongs to another geographical region and culture as it's in another local region. What needs to be done is to put forward an original design, a local design that is suitable, a unique design that is suitable for the competence and the capacity of that region. As I mentioned, cooperation is our indispensable strategic tool and priority. A cooperation model in which job descriptions of all actors are made and equally positions should be activated. Social entrepreneurship and innovation as the main theme of my presentation is actually the main actor and the structure of this whole strategic development process. Innovation is an action and also a result. It's a new or modified, refurbished good or service offered to the market, or a new process, management style, organization, or marketing method. The actor who will realize all these actions and results to be achieved is the entrepreneur. A strong complementary between the innovation and entrepreneur. In order for the entrepreneur to survive in this increasingly competitive environment, it's expected to target innovation, which is one of the most effective generic strategies of competition. Otherwise, it's very difficult and even impossible to maintain a competitive advantage against the competitors after a certain period of time. Today, innovative entrepreneurship in technology-intensive sectors, not in traditional or conventional sectors, has begun to be supported in all government policies. The subject is social entrepreneurship, that is, social impact analysis is important because the social innovation action, which I will explain in detail, has a direct impact on society. In fact, economic activities that directly affect our daily lives are now expressed as impact economy. Next, please. Yeah, social innovation. What I mean by social innovation is that's totally right. The new paradigm for entrepreneurship. Innovation is not just an economic mechanism or a technical process. It's above all a social phenomenon. Through it, individuals and societies express their creativity, needs, and desire by its purpose. its effects, or its methods. Innovation is thus intimately involved in social condition in which it's produced. Social innovation is a combination or figuration of practices in areas of social action prompted by certain actors and other actors with the goal of better coping with the needs and problems than is possible by use of existing practices. It's about the change or novelties of routines, techniques, customs, manners. So these new practices of actions, it's very different from the technical innovations from the perspective of the structure, cooperation in structure, and the impact of the society on society. I favor an analytical concept of social innovation broad enough to capture the wide spirit of manifesto of empirical cases. Social innovation are new practices of action by individuals, groups, organizations, asserting impact on living and working conditions in parts of the whole society. This is the main general description of what we mean by the social innovations. As I said already, it's the action of the social entrepreneurship. Social entrepreneurship is expected to be achieve the social innovations. Next, please. So, without mentioning the impact, the social impact, it's not possible to describe the social innovation. The speed of the social change requires the measurement of the impact of the phenomenon, such as the implementation of the public policies, new technologies, projects, grants on society in order to continuously use limited resources effectively and to meet the expectations of individuals. Similarly, as in environmental impact assessment studies, there is now a need to measure the impact of policy and the decision implementations, not only on physical nature, but also on social change in abstraction. Global warming and climate change are currently directly affecting the agriculture sector. The agriculture sector is the priority sector that directly affects the daily life of the humanity. I think it should be defined as a public sector and treated accordingly. In fact, at the point we have reached, the problem of the food safety is public as priority problem of the society. Social impact analysis is an important evaluation tool for effective and efficient use of the existing limited resources in response to the unlimited needs and demands of the humanity. At the same time, it can be considered as the performance of the evaluations tool of the social innovation. The performance evaluations of the entrepreneurial activities of non-profit organizations on society can be expressed as a social impact evaluation today. Every organization, for profit or not, has a vision, mission, and strategic goals to achieve. Social impact analysis is carried out for measuring the achievement of these and for continuous improvement. Currently, all legislations in our country, in Turkey, recommends applying to this tool to relevant public institutions. At the Social Innovation Center I ran at our university, our currently implementing project is developing a model for a non-governmental organization, because the non-governmental organization is a public service actor and must allocate our limited resources properly. Next, please. So there is a question: how and where can social entrepreneurship and innovation be implemented? For this, we have been working on an ecosystem design in Ankara that can set an example for the world since 2016. As of last year, the main actors of this ecosystem have started to be active. As seen in the presentations, a structure called as the Social Innovation Center was established in our university for the first time in 2016. In 2010, we became the first university in our new country to the name the social innovation that started to develop. In 2010, starting to develop in England, USA, Canada, and Far East countries. Perhaps for the first time in the world, we have established a technology development zone called Social Entrepreneurship and Innovations for the realizations of the entrepreneurship. As of the last August of the last year, the entrepreneurs started to work actively. Now we have an active technology development zone. We call this as the Socio City brand. We are trying to provide the interface between this techno city, Socio City, and the academia, means universities, branch, and the units, with the interdisciplinary social science research infrastructure implemented for the first time in our country. With this project, which has also started last year, we established a social research laboratories with the partnership between our university and the Middle East Technical University, which will bring together the social and the natural sciences. We are trying to determine the competencies, skills of the country for the jobs and professions of the future. We will carry out data analysis work for the development of the qualified migration policies. In this ecosystem, there are universities, technoparks, Ankara Chamber of the Commerce, Güven Hospital, which is the first private hospital in Ankara, STM Defense and Engineering Corporation, Altındağ Municipality representing the public. Many entrepreneurs and business have started to take part. My doctoral students continue to write their doctoral dissertation in the field of in social entrepreneurship and the impact analysis in Netherlands and England. With the newly established institute, we already project-based doctoral programs, we will ensure the research and research sustainability of this research infrastructure. Yeah, next please. My last slide and the ending points. All of these things I have been told are actually aimed at locally specific local development policies and unique tools and methods to put them into practice. You cannot transfer models from other countries and cultures as is. You need to develop and implement policies specific to your own culture, geography, and climate. Farmers who are actors in the agriculture sector, in the security of food supply, need to adopt and transform the modern entrepreneurship paradigm. It's urgent that a transformation model similar to Industry 4.0 to be developed at the global level specific to the agriculture sector. Social innovation is a collaborative structure. Therefore, it is essential to develop cooperation capacity by removing cultural barriers, especially in underdeveloped countries. All this will create the economies of scale necessary for the value chain. And of course, these transformations cannot be expected without the diversification of economic activities and rural areas beyond traditional agriculture activities, and of course, variety of the economical activities in rural areas is really in need. For example, for the developing the regions and farmers or agriculture sectors. That's all from me. Thank you for your patience.
Thank you, my dear friend, Professor Deve, and it's very interesting approach about the food security and how we will be approach the rural communities. Now, this is the last but not least panelist, Mr. Monsef Ziyani. I would like to invite to him, and he is an international independent consultant in the project development and international procurement with more than 50 years experience in the engineering sector. He is a vice president of Federation of Consultants from Islamic Countries, FCIC, and he is the member of the Moroccan Economic, Social and Environmental Council, and also he's a member of the National Public Procurement Committee of the Morocco, and he's the former CEO of CIF, CID company. His company is a multidisciplinary engineering firm, mainly operating on civil engineering, building, transportation, hydro projects, and based in Morocco. Company is the largest Moroccan consulting company with the staff of more than 400 engineers and technical staff. under his leadership, Engineer Ziani, the company carried out many large projects for public and private investors and different MDBs such as ISDB, ADB, World Bank, and similar organization. Now, floor is yours, and Mr. Ziani, he's approaching food security issues such as input supply system and also Moroccan contribution. The floor is yours, Mr. Ziani.
Thank you, Mr. Khalil. Hello, everybody. I would like, as a representative of FCIC, first to thank all the participants and to thank especially ISDB for the continuous collaboration with our federation. First slide, please. So I will try to be short, as I am the last speaker of this panel. I will, after the introduction, I will go through different points. The first one is to give you some information about Morocco's food security. After that, I will give some information on the contribution of Morocco to the national food security. I will also show what is the level of the production of fertilizers in Morocco. And then I will make a zoom on the African continent. And I will last with some points related to research and innovation, and also about challenges and responses. Next, please. So, I wrote this introduction before the beginning of this conference, but I think the previous speakers have said all what I put on this slide. Let me just, as an introduction, share with you an information I got this week from a technical newspaper in Morocco, saying that the United Nations published 1 week ago a report on food security in West Africa and Central Africa. I had a glance on this report, and I have and 3 key points attracted my attention. The first one, and I'm speaking about West and Central Africa, the first one is that this region is now coping with the worst situation since 10 years, speaking about food insecurity. The second key point I remember is that between June and August of this year, 48 million people will need food aid in this region. And this is due to conflicts, of course, due to climate change impact, mainly drought, due to COVID consequences, as it was said before, due to rise of farm input costs, and in some cases it is due also to depreciation of the currency of some of these countries, of the countries of this region. And the third key point I remember is that the food insecurity is expanding in this region, mainly among countries facing political or military conflicts, because conflicts not only disturb the value chain, the agriculture value chain, but it also prevents humanitarian aids to reach needy people. I wanted to say this as an introduction. If some of you are interested about more details, of course, you can go through the UN report on West and Central Africa. Next, please. So some information about Morocco's food security is that this theme, food security, is a strategic priority and currently at the heart of what we call in Morocco the new development model. And in this perspective, an integrated approach has been settled, ensuring food availability, promoting sustainable agriculture and rural development, and prioritizing the protection of natural resources and adapted to climate change. And in line with the 2030 agenda, Morocco's previous green plan, which lasted from 2009 to 2020, has been replaced by a new ambitious agricultural strategy called Generation Green, which will last from 2020 to 2030. And this Generation Green plan is promoting resilience, of course, resiliency and sustainability in the food systems. This strategy converges with many other strategies and royal initiatives, such as the leveling of human development, forests, fisheries, etc. And as a result of this, as the first result of this strategy, let me tell you that Morocco is self-sufficient in fruits and vegetables, and Morocco is a big exporter of these fruits and vegetables, mainly to Africa, but more and more to sub-Saharan countries. Morocco can provide almost 90% of its need related to meats and milk, and about 30% of its need related to sugar and cereals. But this figure varies from one year to another, depending on the rainfalls. Next, please. Let me now speak about contribution of Morocco to the international and regional food security. First, in the public policies, this food security was a structuring national project and the fundamental commitment at the international and regional level. And this has been materialized by a massive contribution in relevant forums to identifying priorities and courses of action for a successful transformation of food systems, especially in Africa. And I gave here 3 examples where I can detail later if necessary during the discussion. Next, please. Some figures about Morocco fertilizers production. Let me first tell you that Morocco is one of the world's largest producer and exporter of phosphates and its derivatives, particularly fertilizer. And although its production is second only to China, Morocco has the largest phosphate reserves around the world, accounting for 70% of the world's reserves. Next, please. And currently, the country has a large fertilizer industry with a huge production capacity and international reach. Morocco produced in 2021 38 million tons of fertilizer from phosphates, of course. And 10 years ago, OCP stands for Office Chariton de Phosphate, which is the public company which is in charge of the extraction of phosphates and with the transformation of phosphate to fertilizer and with the marketing of this fertilizer. So 10 years ago, OCP began to focus on the production of fertilizer, which now accounts for 54 of its sales, with the focus on poor countries, particularly sub-Saharan African countries. And in doing so, the country, through OCP, the public company, is simultaneously achieving 3 strategic objectives. First, fighting poverty and malnutrition in poor and developing countries, ensuring global food security by investing in countries and regions with large areas of arable land and significant water reserves, and last, moving towards more fertilizer production along in the mining value chain. Next, please. Some figures about this fertilizer production. In 2020, the global fertilizer market around the world, the size of this market was about $190 billion. And in 2021, the phosphorus fertilizer market reached almost $60 billion. And the part of Morocco is about 1/10, which is around $6 billion. And OCP accounted for about 20% of our country export revenues. And it's also the country's largest employer, providing jobs for 21,000 people. And before the outbreak of the Russia-Ukrainian war, OCP had over 350 clients dispatched on the 5 continents. Next, please. So let's zoom now on the African continent and give some points in the collaboration between Morocco and the other African countries. Currently, about 54% of the phosphate fertilizer bought in Africa come from Morocco, and over 90% of Nigeria's annual fertilizer demand is met through Moroccan supplies. I, of course, gave here the example of Nigeria, as it is one of the biggest countries in Africa. 7 African country states are already enjoying the benefit of such strategic cooperation. And also OCP works with with many MDBs, of course. Here on this slide, I gave the example of the African Development Bank and the Islamic Development Bank. With the ADB, with African Development Bank, OCP is realizing what they call the Africa Fertilizing Financing Mechanism, which already supported 430,000 small farmers, including 100,000 women. And with IDB, and especially with ITFC, OCP is working to boost Côte d'Ivoire rice production. And this program is reaching now almost 20,000 rice farmers. And to end this Zoom, this first slide for the Zoom, let me say that in sub-Saharan Africa, in particular, the combination of joint venture partnerships in local fertilizer production and direct outreach to farmers has resulted in a remarkable boost to African agriculture yields. And the African Continent Free Trade Agreement, of course, constitutes a unique opportunity to boost regional markets, includes the food markets. Next, please. To end this Zoom, I would like to mention that Morocco is supporting poor countries through the supply of fertilizer, through donations and discounted sales. So OCP, the Moroccan provider, has provided African countries last year with 450,000 tons of fertilizer. This was a donation ordered by our king to OCP to give to some poor countries. And this figure is expected to rise to around 1 million tons in 2023 and 3 million tons in 2 years' time. And OCP has also made a significant investment in 14 African countries, including Ethiopia, Nigeria, Côte d'Ivoire, Gabon, and others, which include setting up local fertilizer production units and ensuring sustainable agriculture production in these countries. This is a very crucial point I would like to emphasize, meaning that OCP now more and more with some African countries, we don't produce the fertilizer in Morocco, but we produce it locally through joint venture between OCP and government bodies or private companies from these countries. At the same time, it is focusing on supporting and expanding the production and insurance of commodities in areas where there is increasing poverty and a real threat of famine. Next, please. So this is this slide is to show you the new approach I was mentioning before, adopted by OCP to produce fertilizer. First, there is a soil mapping made locally in the country, of course, and this is financed by OCP as a grant. OCP start by a soil mapping. Second step, there is a formulation of the fertilizer adapted to the local soil, to the and the crops, the local crops. If possible, there is a local production. If of course OCP finds partner, local partner, there is a local production, and this is this and with the sustainable methods, teaching the farmers how to utilize this fertilizer, these adapted fertilizers. Next, please. Some previous speakers have pointed out the necessity to make more research and more innovation in order to enhance productivity, agriculture productivity around our countries, of course. And OCP has settled a university called the UM6P, Mohammed VI Polytechnic University. And with this university, there is a huge program of research on special fertilizer, energy, and water usage. In 2021, OCP implemented 171 research and innovation projects in partnership with this university. And the company invested almost $33 million into research and innovation program in 2021 with the aim to create value of all its stakeholders, including governments and local communities. I ended this slide with some examples just to illustrate this research program. Next, please. Of course, there are many challenges, and I will try to give to show how these challenges are now tackled by the stakeholders. The main ones are water and energy constraints, of course. Phosphate extraction and fertilizer production use excessive energy and water inputs in Morocco. But Morocco, as you know, is among the countries suffering for the most from water scarcity, especially these last years. We have a very huge national water plan estimated of about $40 billion to try to tackle these water challenges. Nitrogen is the other basic fertilizer element that plants need, and the diammonium phosphate, the most popular type of phosphorus fertilizer worldwide, is composed of 46% of phosphorus and 18% of nitrogen. So we need natural gas for at least 80% of the variable cost of nitrogen fertilizer. And this means that the price of natural gas, as the price of natural gas massively affects the production costs, and as Morocco is not a producer of this gas, this is a real challenge to lower down the cost of the production of fertilizer in Morocco. Next, please. So, what are the responses to these challenges? First, the fertilizer manufacturing could become powered by renewable energy. So this has been a real, OCP has been focusing on this. And in 2020, OCP covered almost 90% of its energy needs from cogeneration and renewable energy sources, mainly solar energy and wind energy. And its aim is to eventually cover 100% of its energy needs in this way. Renewable energy could also be used within the fertilizer itself instead of importing ammonia derived from natural gas. Morocco could produce its own using hydrogen produced from its domestic renewable energy resources, speaking about green hydrogen. And improving water use efficiency, as I said, Morocco is facing a very severe drought this last 10 years. 31% of OCP water needs are now met with unconventional water resources, including treated wastewater and desalinated seawater. Morocco's growing reliance on desalination plants to satisfy industrial, agriculture, and residential needs. And this will require a sizable new investment in power generation from renewable energy sources. To sustain operations and expand green ammonia production, Morocco will have to strike a careful balance between its fertilizer exports, its drive to expand its high-value agriculture exports, and the provision of drinking water to its population. This is a real challenge we are facing now in Morocco. Next, please. I think it's the last one. Yes. Next. It's the last slide. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, brother Diani. Now, already we completed our panel presentation, and now we will have a final part of our panel. Already we are late, approximately 13 minutes. We got much more knowledge gathering from our panelists. Now we have a Q&A session. That session we requested from the different departments of the bank, how they selected colleagues and brothers. They will give us their contribution from their view, or they will evaluate it, this presentation. And I checked the questions. There are several questions. I will directly ask our panelists if we have a time. But first, I would like to invite Dr. Bashir. He is from ISDB's Agricultural Department, and he will contribute to some of the subjects from his view. Dr. Bashir, floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you very much, moderator. And I just have, in the interest of time, a couple of questions. One goes directly to Moncef. You did mention very well how much fertilizer supply is increasing through the efforts of OCP and the others, particularly in Africa now. But the challenge we have, as you correctly mentioned, is the high price of fertilizer that is still 2-3 times what it is elsewhere in the world. Production cost is one of the challenges, and is increasing to be so with the gas challenges. But it would be interesting to hear from you and the rich experience you have. What are some other interventions that we could bring on board to development projects, such as those that are coming with this big financing now, that could bring down the cost of fertilizers? Because unless we get fertilizers into those smallholder farms at a cost that is affordable and that gives them meaningful returns to the investments, raising productivity will be a big challenge. So cost of the fertilizer at OCP is one, but what from your experience, from what you have seen, what are the other key drivers that development projects could seize and try to bring under control? The second question is about human development, human and institutional. Many of these food insecure countries or member countries of the bank have very little human resource to innovate, to conduct the research that is required in terms of producing crops, hybrids, drought-tolerant crops, the agronomy, and many of them have lost their capacity, particularly during the structural adjustment programs of the 80s and 90s. It's very hard to conceive a sound agricultural system unless you have the human and institutional capacity in place. Do you see some opportunities for turning this situation around in the short term, in the medium term, 3 to 5 years from now, especially when we have now significant resources coming into the space through development projects? Because unless we raise the capacity, then we are in a problem. In some countries, there are no people even trained enough, young enough. We are recycling some of the people who have retired because of this challenge. Those are my 2 questions for now, and thank you very much, moderator.
Thank you very much, Bashir. Do you want to, Mr. Monsef, reply his question, or if you want, we will collect. If there are any questions, you can reply all of them. Depend of you.
Can you reply to all of them? Yeah.
Okay, it's the better.
And
Thank you.
the other speakers too.
Yeah, you are right. Thank you very much. You are so kind. And another contribution, it will be came from Mr. Or Dr. Bafa. Mainly, he would like to evaluate and to share lessons learned with us. Mr. Bafa, floor is yours. We cannot hear you. Yeah, you are the mute. Okay. Bafa, you, Mr. Dr. Bafa?
Can you hear me?
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr.
You're
Chairman.
welcome.
And I think this is an opportunity also to thank the organizer to give us maybe a slot, despite our last minute request, to share the findings about our evaluation. And I think, next slide, please. First of all, I wanted to recall that the Gender Declaration Program was implemented in response to the 2008 World Food Crisis, which actually negatively affected our member countries, especially the life and livelihood condition of our poor and vulnerable. So to this end, I think the bank approved a package, an assistance package of about 1.5 billion. This is that was to strengthen the agriculture sector to become more productive, and also to give the opportunity to countries to transform their production agriculture into marketing agriculture. So the scope, actually the scope consisted in short and medium to long-term measure. For example, for short term, it was about, the focus was about the replenishment of the stock to meet the urgent need for food, and the supply of agricultural inputs, animal feeds, and equipment to boost local production. And for example, for medium to long-term measure, it's that included the capacity building of agricultural research institution, the promotion of investment in agriculture, and finally, improve access to finance. So, next slide, please. So as I mentioned above, the independent evaluation conducted an evaluation of the ISDB food security program. under the Jeddah Declaration. And now let me share maybe some of the key recommendations that will help maybe shaping the design of future food security program response and also our future programming. I just want to mention that those recommendations are organized around the design, the implementation, and the sustainability of the food security program, future food security program. So in order to fully address from our understanding and after the evaluation, we think that to fully address the food insecurity in a sustainable manner, future food security program should be designed to incorporate all the components of food security, especially the access, the availability, the utilization, and stability. As mentioned, for example, by Dr. Azir Al-Haboudi, I think during our evaluation, especially on that aspect, we realized that the Jeddah Declaration program, especially, was focused only on food production aspect, which is related generally to food availability component. So all the programs were implemented around food production without a broader focus on other components like access, utilization, and stability. So we think that I think in the future design better to address all the components of food security. And the second one is almost related to that, where we actually think that we need to develop a comprehensive program theory of change to provide a clear roadmap that on how program will support member countries to secure food security supply in short and medium and long-term aspect. This will lead me to the third recommendation, which we think that sometimes we tend to forget the importance, the role of the private sector, which could play actually a great role in ensuring the food security in our member country. And at that point, I think we need to tap into the resource and expertise of the private sector, particularly, for example, the value addition aspect, the promotion of long-term investment in food security, and also the access to finance. For the last recommendation on this slide, I think we think that to ensure sustainability measure, the food security intervention should ensure the availability of adequate operation and maintenance budget for project-supported facility, especially for projects where we have infrastructure. I think we need to have, since the design to plan, to have a budget for operation and maintenance. Next slide, please. So this will lead me actually to the last two recommendations, which are very important, which are very also important for the future of food security. I think from our understanding, the future food security program should give more importance to capacity building, in particular, especially for agricultural research and development, which is not given due emphasis. And the last point related to that, I think this is also raised by Mr. Badji, who's talking about, for example, cooperation. And we think food security is a global issue that cannot be addressed by a single institution. So we need cooperation around that. Therefore, there is a need to harmonize food security intervention of bilateral and multilateral organizations. Such coordination can, for us, I think, and from our understanding, such cooperation can lead to better outcomes. So I think those are, let me stop here and we look forward to the discussion, inshallah.
Thank you very much.
Back to you, Mr. Chairman.
Brother Dr. Bafa. And now the last evaluator is from OIFS, Dr. Zulfikar Ali. We have no much more time. If you summarize your findings, thank you very much.
So thank you very much, Shukran, elder brother Khalid, and honorable Amir Ghani and panelists and brothers and sisters, participants, Assalamu alaikum. Basically, this IFS is a new organization which is well known at the Islamic Development Bank Group. And as Dr. Azhar explained that the role of IDP in the establishment of these organizations. So I will just briefly tell what we have done so far and what are our future plans. So basically, our mission of this organization is to ensure the sustainable food security in the OIC member states through socio-economic development and the promotion of related programs through agriculture, in science and technology developments, trade. If I just today's talk, I summarize right from the words of wisdom of Mr. Amir Ghani and all the discussions of the panelists, this is very much aligned with the mandate of this organization IOFS. So IOFS basically started the real work in action after this COVID pandemic, and we have certain activities, and we have developed, please keep the previous slide, we have developed these strategy house with 5 pillars. And in those 5 pillars, we focus the governance enablement, we focus response to crisis, food crisis, focus on the capacity building, focus on the industry development, and last one is the resource mobilization. So these are the 5 pillars, and there are 16 programs which are basically we are running in these 5 pillars. So far, we have done 22 activities in 49 OIC member states in last year, and there are 1179 beneficiaries. Next slide, please. So these are the details what we have done on the front of the trainings of the trainers and the experts, and then the awareness programs, the conferences, and then there was a partnership as well. And we have now moving from programs and from activities to projects. Next slide, please. These are some of the projects we are focusing, like the sheep farming development. We have initiated Meat Hub West Africa, bakery supply chain, wheat development in Mauritania and in Afghanistan, integrated water plan for Niger and Sahel area, vertical farming, establishment of IOFS food banking, and IOFS organic center of excellence of organic farming, and several others. And we have shared some of our projects with the IDP for the cooperation and implementation. Next slide, please. On the crisis response front, we have certain projects in Afghanistan, and very latest we have a convoy of humanitarian aid to Afghanistan, and earlier we also have the same sort of the convoy in Syria during the earthquake. Next, please. So 2 specific initiatives we have. Last year we had the IOFS Year of Africa, and now we have been mandated with the Africa Food Security Initiative. And another initiative we have is the Afghanistan Food Security Program. So in those programs, we are developing the projects, and we are working some projects we have kicked off, implemented some. We are we have submitted to the funding agency, including IDP. Next, please. So these are the main 8 core areas which we are looking for the support of the member countries, and also for the cooperation from the OIC sister organizations, particularly from the IDP group. As Dr. Azhar mentioned in his conclusion, the slide, and suggested some of the organizations. So the partnership of those organizations is very crucial And I would rather request that also include IOFS in that list, because we are very much related to all these activities. And what we need is simply, as Mr. Baji has suggested, the commitment from the member state is crucial. So if the commitment and request is coming, and we are working on those, developing the projects and going with sister organization for the partnership. And we are working in the model as here Professor Ardal has explained, right from activities or the workshop, getting the information, design the projects, bringing the public-private partnership, and then have some business plan, so that after a certain time of period, this project should go to the independent level. So that's what we are following and working at this organization. Next, please. So with these words, thank you very much once again for your time and listening me, and for this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Zulfikar Ali. This is the very good news. There are the institution under the bank system. It will be easier to cooperate and develop the project and some of the activities together. Now, already we late approximately 3 minutes. We have some questions, but we have no time. I will directly forward this message. Who will be responsible to respond, and Mr. Monsef Ziani also, you will communicate it directly with person who asked the question to you. And before closing this webinar, I would like to ask Mr. Amir Ganimir if you wants to say before close the webinar. We will be happy to hear you. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Thank you all for making this a really interactive dialogue, and also addressing some of the very critical constraints that our member countries are facing because of the challenges that we have with the food security. I think this is not the first time, as Brother Baji has highlighted. I think we need to learn from the lessons of the past intervention that we designed after the food security crisis of 2007 and 8. And our evaluation has shown, I think, in terms of direction we need to take is different from what we have done in the past. It has to be impactful, it has to be timely, and also we need to engage the private sectors, covering the diverse aspect of the value chain. Let me thank you, Brother Hilal Agha, for taking this responsibility for coordinating this session today. Remarkably, although we are a little bit exceeding our time, not being able to respond to some of the questions which participants have raised. I'm grateful to all the participants who spared their time to join us today for this important seminar. And my special thanks to the panelists, Dr. Azhar, Brother Baji, Professor Dr. Ardal, and also Brother Monsef Ziani from Morocco, sharing the experience of Morocco. And also the topic which has been covered is very practical, relevant for the bank program. I think it will help us to take into consideration all these directions, suggestions to implement the food security response program, which is very sizable, and this investment will be materialized during next 3 years period. So I'd also like to thank our Dr. Bashir Jama, Brother Yafa from Operation Evolution, and Dr. Zulfikar, who joined us from IOFS, which is also one of the partners, and also the OIC institution where we need to work collaboratively. I think the challenge is quite large to the extent any institution can manage it individually. I think we need to put our heart and minds together and see how we can effectively materialize these collaboration on the ground and help the member countries to mitigate and limit the impact of these challenges. A lot of expectation from our beneficiaries and the people who are suffering because of these crises, but also this fragility, which is the recurrent issue. Now 30 of the 57 member countries are facing this challenge, which makes the life of the people more difficult. and even reaching out to these people in crisis are very challenging for us. So let me conclude by thanking once again to all the participants, our presenters, our resource person, but more importantly, the colleagues who have worked behind to make this event materialize. Brother Hisham Mir Ghani, Brother Ishraq, Brother Tahsin, and some of the other colleagues who put tremendous effort to make this successful. So I wish you all and thank you very much, and we look forward to seeing you during the annual meeting as well, which will be in 10 to 13th in Jeddah, inshallah. Thank you. All the best to you.
Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Walaikum salam.
Thank you.
If you turn on your cameras, I would like to ask our technical colleagues. They will take our group photo, the last group photo, and we would like to use our report. Thank you very much, and we would like to thanks Islamic Development Bank and our brothers to create a potential collaboration between private sector engagement and also the bank and public institutions. We are ready to support this very important food security response program as a consulting companies, suppliers, and also to create a new business for the rural area in countries. Thank you very much. And have a nice day. I
Thank
hope
you.
we will
Thank you.
see you
Thank
in Jeddah 2 weeks later.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Inshallah.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.